Good morning. And we have had a wonderful keynote address by Mr. Sudhakar Rao. And what he's talked about maths being, ruled by fear psychosis really touches a raw nerve even many decades later. So thank you so much for that pointed, remark. And Mr. Sudhakar Rao also talked about the closing of borders and the patriotic fervor taking over so many countries, and which brings us to our next panel. And I also wanted to, discuss to begin with. We are talking about globalization of education, but my first question to my panelists is, since he has talked about, closing of borders, and in Lok Sabha, one of the answers from the minister came was that 13 lakh students went to overseas country, went abroad for education, including at undergrad level. Now, there are two concerns. One is the global geopolitics, which really puts, plans of so many students at naught. And at the same time, there's also the concern of the, how middle class families are hit. The cost of education and living could easily cross, 50 lakh to 1 crore, that range. How to make our own campuses attractive enough for our students? What to do to, so that the students get meaningful education within India? So I'll start with Dr. Prapti Paul.
Am I audible? Yeah. So thank you very much for the question, and it's utmost my honor to be a part of this elite panel. Thank you very much. To begin with, I would share that it is not just an academic aspiration, but a national imperative that, Indian universities, Indian campuses, Indian schools are all able to attract foreign students. And this will go by leaps and bounds in ensuring that the raising of academic standards, which were also elucidated well in the keynote address, the raising of academic standards, evolving education paradigm, landscape, all that would be taken into account when we are attracting foreign students. How do we do it? Well, I think I would leverage the next few seconds to just focus on technology aspect. Democratizing the technology into the education system is the key aspect which can lead to globalization of the higher education and attracting students. When we have platforms like SWAYAM, we have the MOOCs, where Indian esteemed faculty members are taking courses, we are able to showcase the talent, the intellectual prowess that our country hosts since centuries. So once we are on a global platform, we are able to showcase our intellectual strength, offering courses in the online mode, and therefore making a platform for ourselves on the global stage. I feel that is one of the key imperatives which will lead to more and more students getting attracted to India. Having said that, the second and more important aspect is also fine-tuning, refining our faculty base. When we attract global faculty, we attract global students. When we ensure that our faculty members, our teachers are all well equipped with the right set of knowledge, skills, and attitude, that goes, speaks volumes about the credibility of the institution, and then attracting the foreign students as well. Third aspect is the industry connect. We need to bring industry into the classroom. If there is a fear of maths today in the students, which leads to problems in the higher education system, they shying away from data, which is the new oil. Therefore, it becomes important that we are bringing in industry into our classrooms as much as possible. And we are seeing steps being taken in those directions at the school level, at the college, as well as the post-graduation level. But we need to together collaborate and think more. So with those opening remarks, ma'am, I would like to humbly submit my views to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Maurya, I would like to come to you because we were discussing, to add to what Dr. Paul has said, what are those factors which will really make Indian campuses attractive? And do you agree with her on, about the faculty and infrastructure aspects of globalization?
Definitely, when we talk about globalization of education, normally we just talk about foreign campuses coming to India. But being a student of international business, I always think in terms of making our universities renowned and offering their services to the foreign students. So when we talk about globalization of higher education or making Indian universities more attractive for the foreign students, specifically 4 things comes to our mind, because when we talk about education of services, and for that matter, export of education in particular, we operate in 4 modes. First is cross-border trade, wherein both the students and the professors are in their respective countries. So as you rightly said that one of the forte is online education. And when Mr. Sudhakar was also talking about maths not being taught properly in our schools, and this is where online education also plays a very important role. In addition to what is being taught in the schools, students now also log on to YouTube and they say, this is the maths teacher from whom I would like to learn from. And that is how it has been facilitated now through online education. So when we talk about exports of education services, even though our universities can offer certificate programs, but as per regulations, the foreign students cannot enroll for the regular programs being offered, online programs being offered by our higher education. The second mode of communication is consumption abroad, wherein the students travel to India. And if you look at figures, compared to 9 lakh students who travel from India to study abroad, only 50,000 students come to study in India, which is a huge, huge difference. And wherein I think in the beginning, the opening remarks also was that India is the 3rd largest, we have the 3rd largest education system, ecosystem globally. So we have to leverage on that. With just 10 universities having foreign campuses abroad, and primarily in Dubai, we have to look at how we can go beyond that. How can we have presence of our foreign universities in the international market? The third mode is about commercial presence, wherein we should be focusing on having more campuses of our universities in the overseas market. And fourth is movement of natural persons, wherein Indian professors should go to the foreign universities and deliver the lecture there. So it will happen only with a lot of academic linkages, academic collaborations, wherein you also talked about. So that is one of the forte wherein we should be focusing upon. So rather than talking about for Indian students going abroad, we also should be focusing on attracting the foreign students in India, and which will happen only when we'll be able to project our universities, our higher education institutions as a symbol of quality. In fact, a lot of Indian universities, 78 universities now figure in QS ranking as compared to just 11 in 2015. So things are improving. So the focus should also be on attracting the foreign students. Primarily, the students are coming from Asian countries, but the focus should also be on inviting students from other campuses, other countries like Africa and Latin America and so on.
You have raised several points, and I'll take them up one by one and involve other speakers also. So, Dr. Chaturvedi, in one of our earlier interviews, while discussing what really stops international students from coming to Indian campuses, you had raised the question of cultural differences also, and issues like safety, security, hygiene, cultural differences. Would you like to elaborate on that on this platform?
Thank you, Meha. Let me start with one number. It is about the students' global mobility. Around 100 million students leave their country to get education in a foreign country. So it's a big phenomena. Along with the trade of goods, services, trade is also a very important kind of trade. and students are leaving their countries. Indian students are leaving for higher studies abroad. Similarly, students from several countries have been going to China, but very few countries students are coming to India. I would like to just quote that few hundred years back, when Mahatma Gandhi went to UK for higher studies, there was a lot of criticism from the community, and there was a religious ban on going abroad for any study or any business. But Chinese scholars used to come to Nalanda or other universities. Huensang and Faiyan, they were the two scholars who have stayed here for a long time. I would like to say why less number of students are coming to India, and it is decreasing. It has decreased during last 3 or 4 decades. In 60s and 70s, large number of African students were coming to India because of the non-aligned movement and other relationship of India with the African nations. What is the problem? Problem is that very few universities provide congenial atmosphere for foreign students. What foreign students want? They want safety, security, respect of their culture, and scholarships. It is happening, and I can cite few universities who have managed very well. Particularly, I would like to name Symbiosis University and ICFAI University, ISB or BHU, and JNU and Jamia Millia University, Delhi University. There are few universities where students have not faced the problem seriously. But it is happening year and year that in Greater Noida there is a knowledge park, and there are few private universities attracting hundreds of students, foreign students. But several times in a year, they face difficulty. Either they create problem, they become aggressive, violent, or local students fight with them. And then the embassy people have to come. Just day before yesterday, one of the very prominent university from eastern part of the country has faced students' agitation. 500 Nepalese students, they were agitated. One of the Nepalese female students has resorted to suicide. I am not having the details, but it has created a very negative publicity, not only in Nepal, but many other countries also, that there is something wrong with the university. I am not naming the university. I know the promoter, the university is well known, but why has it happened? I would like to, not only with the foreign students, I want to raise this issue. Mental health is a big issue. Not only for Indian students, it can create problem for foreign students also. Last year, 13,000 students resorted to suicide in Indian campuses, which included IITs also. So we have to look after the hygiene, sanitation, mental health, security, scholarships, and we have to provide them a warm, cordial, friendly atmosphere. This is people in greed of having foreign students and increasing their income, they invite foreign students, then they forget. Some of the universities, public or private, or colleges, public or private, this is wrong policy. If you have to internationalize your education, you should have greater number of foreign students, not only from Africa, not only from Nepal and neighboring countries. You should have students from Europe. You should have students from North America, from Latin America. You should have students. Why you are not having students from South Asian countries? This is necessary. Only because of the economic compulsion or cheap tuition fees, we should not attract students. So these are my observations, that India can become a large importer of incoming students, foreign students to its campuses. It is on the cusp of doing it, but we should have a sound, strong policy about taking care of foreign students along with our Indian students also. Let there be no discrimination. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You have raised very important points. Father George, I would like to come to you. So, Dr. Chaturvedi has raised very important points, but moving forward, what are some of the infrastructural constraints that you would like to highlight in making Indian campuses attractive? And also, I would like to ask you that now the government move of enabling foreign campuses coming to India, will that also help in what Dr. Chaturvedi is saying, attracting students from across the globe?
Uh, Good morning. My experience is, I'm talking from my XLRI experience. If you take some 6-7 years back, we always had students from abroad, France, Europe. Okay, thank you. We had always, any given time there will be 30-40 students, foreign students. If you take now, there are no more. Then I analyzed what is the reason. The reason, main reason was they come here and they fail, right? Because they have to compete, it's a relative grading. All are treated same. So Excel students take the A plus B and they end up getting D and F. And that is the main reason the foreign students stopped coming. Because
Would you like to elaborate on the reason for their
reason is
getting
our
those?
standard is very high. Our students' standard is much higher. Our students are bright in mathematics and analytical skills, whereas their education method is entirely different.
Since you have raised this point of our students being bright, I would like to raise one more question. There's this notion about Indian education not being, of that standard, and our rankings are low. But you are also saying that our students are very bright. So how do you explain this kind of contradiction?
The contradiction is mainly, see, ours is very good at memory, understanding, but when it comes to original research, we are lacking far behind. Where the foreign universities, now China is catching up, we are to catch up, but we are improving. Take 11 years back, XLRI, no faculty was publishing any paper. Now it has increased because of the ranking, accreditations. So it is going because we are very late entrant into the research culture. As a result, people perceive. Now we are focusing, I am sure we will reach to the top positions.
So again, as you have raised the question of research and publications, I would like to bring in Dr. Atul Bharat into this conversation. What would you say is the entire research ecosystem at the moment, and how can we improve upon that, and what is your institute doing about it?
Thank you, Meha, and thank you all the panelists and BW Next to give me an opportunity. What I could say that, as Father George stated, that our students are bright. we are having very good, brilliant students with us. Only thing is that the pedagogy has to be changed. We learn from theories, we pass exams. We do not go for research, we do not go for innovation. And what we did in our university, we collaborated with a few foreign universities. We are going for joint research. We are on faculty exchange. We are on student exchange. We are developing products. We are filing up joint patents. And that will change because in our classrooms, we normally go with theoretical. We never gone with learning of what, we do not know what's the application of what I am studying into the classroom. So we have to change that teaching pedagogy. We have to bring more collaborations, joint research programs, and our faculty should be inspired to go for research. As Father George said, it is increasing. And in coming years, you would see that India will be into the top 5 positions on innovation index in the world. We had already raised up from 46 to the top 10. So things are changing, landscape is changing. Indian education is getting into hybrid mode, and I think India will conquer this in next 3 to 4 years. What I could see in my university, last 5 years we do not have any foreign collaborations, but we had collaborated with various universities across. Their faculties came to our campus, their student came to our campus, our student went to their campus, they went for a joint research program. They made products, they are filing up joint patents. This will increase collaborative efforts on collaborative research, and this will make synchronization between the global standards among foreign universities and Indian universities.
Dr. Agarwal, I would like to ask you about, the fellow panelists have talked about, research and infrastructure. What are some of the other aspects which impact the global rankings, and how can Indian universities improve their global standing, especially the rankings?
Reflect upon what the other panelists have spoke about the globalization issue. And then I will speak a bit about the internationalization and the ranking issue. So when the borders are closed, you have to open up the mind. So the question is that we always ask that why the students, we are not getting students. But the question is why we are sending the students first, in the first place. 13 lakh students are going, and I can share the experience of working with the two IITs, IIT Delhi and IIT Kanpur subsequently. We are extremely small universities. IIT Delhi, we take only 1,000 students a year. Whereas only 2,000 students are PhD students. The total student strength is only 12,500. Now, speak about XLRI. XLRI is a small, very small university. How many students are you have now? 800,000? 600 students. Intake. Just imagine. Now let me ask the audience. We know about the demography of India. Today we are almost 1.5 billion people. Can you guess how many people will add today? By the time you finish your conference, have your evening tea, how many kids we will add today net in the country? 48,000. 48,000 kids we will add by today evening in this country, net addition. All the deaths and everything, whatever we talked about. So that means we require 4 IIT Delhi by evening. We require, I don't know how many, my maths is poor, 600 into XLRIs by evening, every day by day for next hundreds of years. The reason is the Indian universities are not attracting international students because our hands are full. That's first. And that's a reason of rigor. If we don't put the rigor, we are already getting 1.5 million people. When I talk to my European friends, they say how many students get into apply for IIT. 1.5 million, 15 lakh students apply every year. Today we are getting the JEE ranks 99.97%. If you have only blink once in the 3 hours, your rank goes, you are out of IIT. The whole of IIT system only 5,000 students. Whole of engineering class, what we talked about, like engineering is 50 to 60,000 students. All the whole country, 1.5 million are appearing every year. So first is that we have to open our mind that how do we provide enough opportunities for our domestic students. I think that's the first thing. The second thing we have to look upon that I think another criticism will have an education sector, and most of the education leaders will agree. We do too less and too slow. Everybody knows how many years we are talking about foreign universities coming to India. We have forgotten the count. 10 years, 15 years. Forget about the governments. Government have changed. New governments have come. Same government has repeated. We're talking about foreign education bill. And one foreign university is coming, we are celebrating, and they will start having 50 students a year. So that is too little, too less, and too slow. The international, let me give you another example from the Abu Dhabi experience. Recently we opened up we are the second IIT to open up a Abu Dhabi campus. The first one is IIT Madras has opened Zanzibar. In Abu Dhabi, we started in a campus. Only 50 students were taken in the last year. First year, one year we have completed. Now the government is after our life to increase the programs and activities. They said that you start the PhD programs. They have been trying to do similar activity with New York University to start the PhD program for 20 years. The New York University is giving them, we cannot start because there is not enough attraction, there are not enough faculty members, we don't have research activities going on. We advertised for our PhD program, 345 applications came, 80 students have admitted. 2 of them also taken a drop from ISC and then joined IIT Delhi Abu Dhabi campus. 8 PhD students have started. Now the question is that there is enough people to admit anywhere. If you want to fill the Abu Dhabi campus with 1,000 students, you can do it in the current JEE very easily. You want to admit 5,000 students, no problem. So it's not about the merit. We have enough meritorious people. And I think everybody will agree. You don't blink, even the difference between 99.97% and 90% is probably 1 or 2 marks. And some of you, sir, must have set up the papers for CAT or JEE and others. It's only 1 or 2 marks. So that does not make you meritorious. So I think we have to open up our mind in identifying how do we start the new activities and provide at least in opportunity for education. Now talking about the rankings. The ranking is highly dependent on several aspects. The first aspect is the foreign faculty. Today, in fact, if you speak to our Dean Alumni Affair, Dr. P.V.M. Rao, he goes around and he says that today the Indian faculty members are paid on a dollar to dollar term, more than the international faculty members. Most of the European countries, our salaries are better. If you go to number of even developed countries, talking about Europe and other places, our salaries are better. So therefore the faculty members are coming in. The student wise, certainly I agree with Father George that student definitely cannot qualify the entrance exam. So in Abu Dhabi, what we are doing it, the JEE is organizing a specialized JEE for the Emirati students. And same thing, JEE is doing a special JEE for the African students in Zanzibar. And of course, they are not compromising on the quality, but they are changing the structure of the paper. The paper structure cannot be based on the CBSE pattern where the students are have appeared in a certain fashion. So there is different fashion, different structure that has created. Now, so the new models, so the reason I am saying that we have to open our mind, we have to come with the new models. Are we allowing enough people, like the way the whole JEE papers are set up, the whole CAT papers are set up, it is only to select the minuscule percentage, not to admit a large amount of students. And I am sure when these students are given opportunity, they will be as bright as anybody else. So my request to all of you would be, and in fact all the leaders here, is to start thinking on new way. Online is one, AI is one. That is one, but what are the other opportunities? What are the other ways? Skill University was another example which was given that we will have, but unfortunately Skill University have not taken off the way we thought. So what are the other new ideas? In fact, the government, let me tell you, government has completely lost ideas. They also don't have any ideas. So it's our responsibility to give ideas to them. The new ANRF is coming, Anusandhan Research Foundation. 50,000 crores will be there available for the research purpose. But the question is, do we have a capacity to absorb that money? I don't think so. And I can guarantee you that none of the institutions will be able to absorb few hundred crores or more. Because we don't have enough ideas for research. So that will hamper the research rankings and all.
You have raised the issue of newer ideas to address such a vast population and also globally. If I may come to Dr. Paul again, so he has talked about the new ideas and you had mentioned earlier about the use of technology. If you can elaborate on how technology can be used creatively, imaginatively to meet this demand and also to increase Indian presence in other countries.
Absolutely. So there are a lot of ways that we can leverage on the strength of technology to bring in not just the global best practices into our classrooms, that is point number one, but also to ensure that we as an institution are able to develop more robust and comprehensive continuous learning systems at our institutions. So the cultivation of the habit of continuous learning, continuous evaluation will go a long way in not just nurturing our students into bright minds, but also the foreign students who are coming in and getting used to or adapting to our culture. Also worthy to mention here is that the use of these open platforms where we are offering courses, we can look at a lot of collaborations with the global best, higher education institutions and offer programs collaboratively. Certification programs that were mentioned is a small step towards that. Also, more emphasis, I feel, should be given to immersive learning. So a lot of experiential learning, a lot of visits. There should be a welcoming, attitude, welcoming approach towards foreign students, their faculty, even not just for any certification, collaboration, but just to visit also. It could be like a campus visit, where we generally organize these global immersion tours where our students are going abroad and, going visiting universities, undertaking some workshops and lectures. Let's have more of that in India. So if we have that, of course, that will be in the physical form, but in the digital era, we should leverage more on the global partnerships, the collaborations which we can have to offer programs which will give us a global stage. As an institution of repute in India, making it big, with foreign universities. So I think these few things can, if they are cultivated well, they can help, raise the bar for the Indian institutions also in terms of attracting foreign students.
Coming to the faculty aspect, some of you have already discussed that, but I would like to go into further details. How can a healthy faculty exchange happens, which benefits Indian students also, and which would help foreign students also? Professor Father George, if you would like to shed light on that.
Yeah, collaboration, already we are doing it. Means if I go and see MOU, nearly 40 foreign universities, we are already collaborating. And our students are going there and taking part. But where we are really missing out is joint research programs. That is not taking, it's started. As I told you, the research culture we got into very late. Okay, as a result, even that culture hasn't come in. Getting top-notch faculty from abroad is still a challenge because the salary is uncomparable. Ivy League professors, they charge per course nearly $30,000 plus up and down business class. You put it together, it goes into 40 lakh per course. And that's not affordable for Indian institutes. Even ISB is one of the top-notch payers. Even they pay only $18,000 per course to a foreign faculty. So that is one of the things. But we can get other exchange, which we are working. The method is like, you don't pay any salary to my faculty. I will pay the regular salary. Only they pay the transport. Similarly, for your faculty, you continue to pay your salary. We will pay the flight tickets and other arrangements. I think if that succeeds, then more exchange program will be possible.
Dr. Maurya, is Symbiosis going into maybe training arrangements to address this issue? Training arrangements wherein students attend part of the program on other campuses and similarly reciprocal basis.
Definitely, we have a lot of collaborations with foreign universities, and some of the students, when I talk about my own institutions, our students go for summer semester abroad, wherein they do at least 2 to 3 weeks in the foreign university and come back. And definitely these kind of opportunities also provide a lot of opportunities for the students in terms of learning the foreign culture, and when they come back, they also have an exposure as to how education takes place in other universities vis-a-vis India. And they also realize the importance of getting practical knowledge about various topics. And also, they also realize that, when we talk about imparting or emphasizing more on practical learning, rather than theoretical knowledge, they are more open and prone to that. So in fact, many of our students, in addition to their academic routine, also opt for live projects wherein they are able to work beyond the academic hours with the companies in online mode. So online definitely have provided a lot of advantages, not in terms of providing the learning environment, but also gaining practical insights while working into companies. So when they go abroad, get foreign exposures to how education takes place in the foreign universities, it definitely provides them an edge when they come back to India.
My next round of question would be about NEP. What difference has that made to this, whole discourse? Maybe we can start with Dr. Chaturvedi.
We are still waiting for the status report of the NEP implementation for last 5 years. I have asked this question to a consultant or a senior partner of KPMG who has been doing lot of consultancy work for Ministry of Education. I asked him, where is the status report? He said every year there used to be a meeting and some reports are prepared, but these are not given to the public domain. So I am not very happy with the implementation. And NEP is a perspective. It has given a perspective, but it has not given the action plan that how the global perspective, mostly drawn from the developed world, can be implemented in the Indian situation. So there has been a political issue also that some of the state governments, they are not implementing NEP, and they are raising this issue that the central government education being the concurrent subject, union government should not take decisions unilaterally. Moreover, I would like to say one more thing, that only one idea has been implemented by the central universities. That is, instead of 3 years undergraduate course, it is 4 years course. Some of the private universities across the country, some of the private universities, I do not have the data, they have also implemented. Now they are facing problem. In Karnataka, they have changed from 3 years to 4 years. Now the state government is asking them to revert back to 3 years because they are antithetical towards NEP implementation. I would like to say that in India, there is a tendency, we raise novel ideas and we can pick up novel ideas from any part of the world. But when it comes to implementation, nobody comes forward to own that I will implement it. So it's a problem with our system. And I can tell you one major obstacle is that implementation requires huge investment in education. NEP implementation requires huge resources for implementation. Whereas our implementation is not allowing, our union budget or state government's budget, they are not in position to earmark huge investments in education. You think that digitalization will happen, but you will not be able to give a laptop or an iPad to the faculty. There are 15 lakhs teachers teaching in higher education. They are not having laptop. They are not having sitting space. Our libraries are not well equipped. If you visit any library, you will find that for 10 years, new books have been purchased. New books have not been purchased. So I am skeptical that without raising our spending on education, which includes school education, primary, school and higher education, from current 3% of the GDP, unless we raise it to the 6%. We have taken a national vow in the first education policy declared or announced in 1968 that India should spend 6% of GDP on education. You can't raise the quality. Quality is not cheaply available. If you want to have a hygienic food in a proper environment, it cannot be available in a dhaba. In a dhaba, you go for impromptu food, local ethnic food at cheaper rates. But if you want to have a regular food as per your own need, with all hygiene, safety, security, it will be costlier. So I would like to say that NEP implementation, one major stumbling block is political fight between the state, central and state governments. Number two is lack of proper implementation strategy. Number three, not having education on the top priority of all the governments. If you see the manifesto, you will find they are not talking about education. They are talking about so many freebies and so many things, but not what they would like to do for education, except few state governments. So there is a neglect of health and education in our country. We have faced difficulty during the COVID. Lakhs of people died because of the absence of basic things like oxygen, beds, medicines, and paramedical staff, lack of doctors. Similarly, we need to train for implementation of NEP. We require to invest heavily in teacher training at primary level, school level, higher education level. We need to invest heavily in infrastructure. In every school, college, we should have very good facility of internet. Are we having that facility? So I conclude here by saying that NEP implementation may take 10 more years. Within first 5 years, there has been tardy, slow implementation. And the reasons I have given.
Thank you. Dr. Agarwal, to add to that, what are your thoughts on this, and if it is implemented in the right spirit?
Dr. Chaturvedi has already echoed my thought. I said in the beginning, too little, too slow. So that is, I think, is quite true, which is evident by the fact that such an important initiative, we are not able to do it. So that's the reason I come back to my first point, that we have to come with the new ideas. What could be the new ideas? I think that will be pertinent to think about. And so if the NEP is not implemented, maybe the private institutions can take the lead, or maybe the independent institutions which can take the lead, which are doing already, which in our case we are doing to a certain extent. We have already implemented the majority of the part of the NEP. That now the students can do several activities. We are encouraging them. Like a couple of examples I can give you, like how we are encouraging students and faculty members towards doing startups. So when I was with IIT Kanpur, we set up, like for almost 70 years of our independence, we were doing research which is dying in the labs. So in IIT Delhi, we file almost 190 patents a year. And take a guess how many of them we take them to market. Single digit. That's the situation in the top institution. So same thing was happening in other institutions. So in IIT Kanpur, what we did was, we set up India's first faculty entrepreneurship policy. That faculty is allowed to start their startup. 57 faculty members started their companies. We never had a student entrepreneurship policy. So we said that you can take up a job of 50 lakhs to 1 crore or 2 crores, whatever you want as an engineering student. But we will not allow you to start a company because your education will hamper. So students do all the moonlighting. Most of the students nowadays in the computer science students, they are earning few lakhs a month by doing moonlighting, or they are doing evening jobs with global corporations, not doing the projects. So what we are saying is, like, we started the student entrepreneurship policy. So that means that the students can now defer their placement for 2 years. So there is a huge investment. So we have to open up with the new ideas, that the student and faculty members are coming to start a new company, which is translating the lab work to the action or to the startup. What kind of incentive we can give it to them? Do we provide grants? Do we provide opportunity? Do we provide office spaces? That is something, this is one of the ideas that we implemented. The another thing which we are doing, industry interaction. In fact, the government, I must, like we are criticizing the government a bit, I must also praise the government a bit. I think the India, in terms of startup investments, India no country like India has done the startup investments the way we have done. Couple of examples. Only India we have a $1.2 billion sovereign fund, which is funds of funds. It's the largest funds of its kind in the world, which is called SIIB funds. 9,400 crores have been deployed. 75,000 crores benefit has come from the startup ecosystem. So there is enough money available which we can use not only in promoting education but providing opportunity for the students and faculty members to do something new. See, faculty members are also, why the faculty members, Father George was saying that faculty members were not doing research. What was the reason of not doing the research? Because they were never interacting with industry. Many of the faculty members have never ever visited any industry. So they were, what they were doing, they were graduating a PhD, they were BTech, MTech or like BTech, MBA, PhD, straightway they become the faculty member. They have never ever worked in a company. Their level of interaction with industry was practical nil. Now how do they write research papers? How do they understand the industry problem? Now with the, at least the opportunity which is coming is one day they can do the startup. Now almost all the government grants which we are getting today, 30% of the government grants are going towards that you have to create either a commercial entity or a startup or an activity, some action research out of that particular grant. So that's another pathway without implementation of NEP, the pathway government is doing. Because there are certain things which are political, but this is, so everywhere, if you look at the AI mission, if you look at the quantum mission, if you look at the money which is coming in for any new deep tech policy, any kind of new policy is coming, governments are investing quite a lot in promoting action research and startups in the ecosystem. So this is, I think, a welcoming step.
Mr. Bharat, so I would like to come to you. Maybe starting with you, we can have closing remarks because I would also like to have some questions before we close. So starting with you, Mr. Bharat.
As Sir said that innovation and startups are happening, in 2013 we founded, the same I could see. Every year there were 800 students graduating out, a lot of major research projects happens, everything dies in the lab. So in 2013 I reached out to CII and we reached out to Intellectual Property Facilitation Center and we started the first, India's first intellectual property cell inside the institute, making awareness into the region and inside the college. At that time we were hardly having 3 or 4 patents filed. Today we have 117 patents filed. We have a research policy for the faculty. We have an IPR policy for the faculty. The same NISP has, government is taking a lot of initiatives, SFS funds, ITBIs, Atul Tinkering Labs, everything is happening. There is now, in our appraisal policy we added, if you had published a research paper into Index Scopus Journals, you are rewarded for that. If you do some innovations, you are rewarded for that. Even in NBA accreditations and AICTE accreditations, now DIN number for the faculty is advised. So if a faculty have a DIN number, if they have run at their startups, they get some weightage into it. So faculties have started business. Even the faculties had been awarded under MSME and STPI also. From STPI, 3 of our faculties had been given the grant fund which is non-refundable. If you go to MSME business incubation policy, a faculty can put up his startup idea and they can get 25 lakh rupees fund to develop a prototype. And if it is commercialized, it is 1 CR. So, lot of research is happening. Now the projects are coming up to the commercial. Yes, the weightage is less, but in due course of year you will see this will be growing up because now faculty can see an output what the research they are doing. Earlier there was no output seeing. It was just printed, kept into the libraries. But now commercialization is happening. This will give a good boost to Indian education system. And as I earlier said, the entire pedagogy of Indian education system has to change from theory to application based. There the country will grow. Our children learn books, but they do not know how to apply it. The same, industry partnerships is very important. We have a very strong industry partnership cell. We went to CII, we went to MSME. We had filed 4 joint patents with the industry into their problems. Smart India Hackathon is one of the greatest examples in India where institutions can do research live with the industry. There are thousands of problems with the industry which we can solve and that can be commercialized. Their faculty can be remunerated. And there should be recognition and reward for things. Earlier there was not. But in last 5 years we could see that landscape is changing. and India will roar into innovation, research, and attracting global population to India to take education.
Thank you. Dr. Paul, maybe closing remark, everyone in 1 minute so that
Yeah.
we can also
So
take
I
it.
think I will draw a lot of strength from the points already shared by the esteemed panelists. At the ICFAI Business Schools also, you know, over the last few years, we have been able to attract more than 200 industry partners as professors of practice. Now, this is though introduced in the NEP, but as an institution, the far side that our founders had was to get the industry into the classrooms. So I think it is only with the strength of the industry, the collaboration with industry, we are able to open up our job markets to foreign companies. We are able to showcase our skill sets. So in a line, if I have to sum it all, I think it is important that we look at removing these international barriers, and the only weapon in hand is education, as Nelson Mandela has rightly put it, that, education is the only weapon that can change the world, and leverage on the strengths of technology to be able to take India to the next level in terms of higher education. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Father George.
NEP, we are already implementing, and that is one of the step is that standalone MBA institute can't exist. Either it should become part of university, or you become university. So we are in that process. We are becoming deemed university, and already received, what is it? Letter of intent, LOI, that we have received. So I went through NEP. What are they suggesting? It's a philosophically new outlook, but the whole point is already the top B schools institute, they are already practicing. The only thing I could find to introduce is multidisciplinary. Multidisciplinary means they want fine arts and other things, which is a big challenge. See, let's understand from students' perspective. What is their number one concern? It's a placement. Academic rigor comes second only. For the number one concern, because we can't blame them, we also charge them heavily. Nearly 28, 30 lakhs, they take loan. So their primary focus is how to pay back. That's the reason they are not starting a new business. Because with that, risk rate is very high. So they want a secured corporate job and they go for it. So that is their concern. But the moment we increase the number of students, then average salary will come down. As a result, the brand also will come down. That's the reason we are not increasing anymore. Only maybe sustainability is our goal for the deemed university with the distinct category. That is under category we have applied. And our focus is on sustainability. So we will start number of programs around that. So NEP is, at least it's waking us to think. Like, I never thought I will get into undergraduate program. Okay, it's because of NEP, we are seriously thinking. Because multidisciplinary, I can get only from undergraduate. So we have already got permission also. So within 3 years, you can see XLRI undergraduate campus. So NEP is waking us up, think big, move forward. So and government also is doing. For example, recently they initiated training of faculties. It's almost like a leadership program, and they are paying at par with corporate for each participant. Government is sponsoring. So I think they are also spending, but not as much as what professor really intends or wants, but they are on the right path. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Dr. Chaturvedi, concluding remark.
Concluding remarks about the greater internationalization of higher education, I would like to say that India should brand and market Indian education across the world. You cannot go to all the 200 countries, but you can select at least 50 countries in all continents of the world for launching a regular round-the-year running program named Study in India. And road shows can be organized. hundreds of cities across the world. Government will have to undertake it under the Ministry of Education. Number two, we will have to increase the average quality of our school education and higher education. We cannot internationalize Indian higher education only by spending on 5% top cream of the cream institutions. Only 100 institutions, 100, 200 institutions are taking the major part of the higher education budget in our country. There are 1,000 plus 1,100 universities, 50,000 colleges. Average quality of higher education and school education is not good. So you need to invest resources. You need to increase the quality of the teaching by training the teachers continuously. So I would like to say that internationalization, globalization of Indian education is possible by increasing our efforts to bring more foreign students, as well as attracting our own students who have gone abroad, done very well, and they are doing jobs in foreign universities and foreign companies. China has done it 20 years back. They have devised a policy to attract faculty for Chinese university. They have offered a package. Those who will come from with foreign PhD degree, they will be given a better salary, a residential accommodation, better promotion abilities. So we have to attract, we will have to go out of the normal policy. I can give one example. One university which has done very well in globalization, internationalization is Jindal Global University. The Vice Chancellor himself visiting foreign university to attract foreign faculty. So unless we do efforts like this, I am not sure that the foreign faculty not having Indian roots will come. But at least the Indian people who are teaching in foreign university, they can be invited with better working environment assurance.
Thank you, Dr. Agarwal.
I think we have to first of all get out of the elitist mindset. If we once we have this elitist mindset that okay, only the majority so at the Dr. Chaturvedi said that majority of the money is going to the minority of the institutions or the students. And also the industry has to evolve. Like another example from the startup industry, the startups industry is recruiting people without looking at their backgrounds. They are not going for a day zero or day one or day two of placements. They are recruiting people and they are offering a good salary. And if you are able to work on some ideas, if you are able to work hard, the sky is a limit for you. So that's another opportunity for the students to look at, that do they acquire, do wish to acquire, and do wish to really work hard on the getting into any of the elite institution, or they want to establish a different skill set in that particular time. So today the preparation of CAT and JEE takes you very easily 2-3 years of your life. And at that time, frankly speaking, you are not allowed to, or you cannot do anything else. You are completely, like if you look at the young students who is preparing for a JEE, a 14, 15-year-old kid, he should be playing football, he should be doing other things, but there is no way that he can do if you wish to get into any of the institution. So his opportunity of thinking creatively, and what one of the panelists has said, original thinking has completely diminished. Because we have taken the formative years of his life in asking him to prepare hard for the examination, which he is not sure whether he will crack or not. He blinks and one question, he's gone. So how do we create that opportunity so that there is a, not only we linked this education for the placement, but also for providing new employment activities. So that is one aspect. The second is that we have to move fast. If the government is not moving, NEP is not happening, then the other institution has to come forward, and probably there has to be a group of institutions which need to come. Like one of the activities which Professor Chaturvedi lead is EPSI, such example. 1,000 institutions are part of EPSI, and they have created an outstanding forum where without even the government intervention, they meet very regularly and they would do those activities. And that one forum is not enough, because one or two people can certainly lead. But what about the others? Can we create regional forums? Can we create specific to Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi. You know, those things are very important considering the size of the country.
Finally, Dr. Maurya.
So all of us have listened to all the dignitaries sitting at the dais, and everyone talked about the problems and challenges which the Indian institutions are facing, specifically in the education sector. And proudly we can say that, whatever challenges we are facing, India is the 10th largest exporter of education services, with top 2 positions being held by US with 40% share and UK is having a 30% share. Rest all have a share of 1%. So there is a lot that needs to be done towards internationalization of higher education in India. And this also reminds me of the fact when the Indian economy opened up way back in 1992, wherein we had a lot of issues related to trade balance and other things. And when we look at the present situation, 30 years down the line, we say that India is bound to be the 3rd largest economy globally by 2027 or 2030. So maybe 10, 20 years down the line, we might be in a position to proudly say that we are among one of the provider of quality education globally. And adding on to what everyone talked about patents, we had the opportunity of having IPR, FDP in my institution, and wherein the resource person said that in case of Japan, they teach even in school. He showed us a school book wherein in class 6th, they teach the students about IPR. So that is what is required. The startup ecosystem have picked up very well, so that is what is required. Rather than focusing on providing employment in companies, the focus should be on providing entrepreneurship opportunities to our students. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are just in time. So thank you so much to all the fellow panelists. It was great conversing with you. Thanks.